Shalom. First, I want to say all praise and glory be unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Wachak Wadash, the abundance of the elder apostles, the great millstone, rule well, who baptized his knowledge. Other salutations to you fellow laborers doing the work week in and week out, pushing the words of truth according to the scriptures. Shalom also to the few Akwaf that believe as well. This is a video I stumbled across. You know, you Akim out there, you Akwaf out there, you know what's going on. As far as the controversy surrounding Zion. So I had watched this video clip. It said we woke now. Fair use, by the way. It's for teaching and educational purposes only. You have Ronald Dalton Jr., the creator of the Hebrews and Negroes movie, was debating with Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, which this guy, he's in several videos admitting that the prophecies fit, the so-called Negroes over in America, but he'll acknowledge the northern tribes, which would be us of Native American and Hispanic descent. So, he's on this platform debating Ronald Dalton Jr. And Ronald Dalton Jr., he's confronting him with some facts, but then he goes off too with the Japhetic, Japhetic lineage. So I'm gonna play just a little bit of it. I can't play too much. Just gonna hit the points, so I don't get copyright. Because even though it's teaching and educational uses only, I want to keep it nice and concise. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. And Lord willing, this video is edifying.
If you haven't missed not one Shabbat, and of course, if you haven't missed Shabbat, that means you've always followed Torah and you've always had the language of Hebrew. Why is it that before the creation of the state of Israel, that the majority of people living in the Pale settlements in southern Russia, in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, or Turkmenistan, or Kyrgyzstan, Eastern Europe, whatever you want to call it, why have people come out speaking the Germanic, Slavic, and Turkish language, and it wasn't until they went to Hebrew school and they infused modern Hebrew into their original ancestral language that you come up with the form of the language called Yiddish.
Now he confronted with that, right? So you see, as he getting on that language called Yiddish, he's going in on it. He's debating on it. So I'm gonna play it a little further, then I'm gonna jump ahead, rather.
Ashkenazi Jews that are 80 years old before they even had 1940 Hebrew into their original ancestral language that you come up with the form of the language called Yiddish. Most Ashkenazi Jews that are 80 years old before they even had 1948, the state of Israel.
He's going in about the establishment of the Jewish state of Israel. He's going in about that. And I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, which he was pretty accurate on that. But this is something that he's misinformed about, because he's really unlearned. Those of us that's watching, this guy, Ronald Dalton Jr., he knows he's an Israelite, but he's really unlearned. He don't even know the Japhetic line, which this video is about that. Going into a little bit of history of Japhet and showing you how Esau took the land of Japhet, and how you go in the scriptures, though it may have Japhetic names, like the sons of Japhet, sons of Japhet names may come up, but the actual people that took the place of the Japhetic people were actually Edomites. So I'm going to prove that in this video. Now, this is the last part of the clip I want to play, where he mentions it.
Keep the Hebrew language from the first Shabbat, back in the first temple and kept speaking Hebrew all the way until today. You guys had an ancestral origin, which is from Japhet, and you guys merged Hebrew with your Turkish, Slavic, Germanic, Central Asian, Eastern European language, and came up with Yiddish. You know Yiddish is not real Hebrew.
See, he going in about the language, which he's right about the language, but as far as sons of Japhet, he went off on that. All right, so first example I got, I want to go to the book of matter of fact, let's start at Genesis. I want to start at Genesis 10, going to the sons of Japhet. Genesis 10 and 1, it says, "Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Ham, Shem, Ham, Shem, Ham, and Japhet." It's like I got a little tongue tied. It says, "Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japhet, and unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japhet, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Rephath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families and their nations." So this is the whole lineage of Japhet I just read. Now you notice the names I mentioned. All right, from verse 2 on down to 4, it mentions Kittim. All right, it mentions Kittim. Now, when you go to First Maccabees, who was from Kittim? We're going to see. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 2. I'm sorry, starting at verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian who came out of the land of Kittim, same way. The same way you say it, but just spelled just a little different with the CH instead of the K. The land of Kittim has smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So this Alexander, when you go into the history of Alexander, was Alexander an actual? Was he an actual? Was he an actual Japhite? The answer is no. All right, he's living in the land or born in the land of Japhet, because prior to him being born, going back to the line of his fathers, they had to push out Japhetic people. Now, let me read this little history. Excuse me. Let me read you a little history on it real quick. This is from history.com, historychannel.com. It says, Alexander the Great was an ancient Macedonian ruler and one of history's greatest military minds who, as king of Macedonia and Persia, established the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. By turns, charismatic and ruthless, brilliant and power hungry, diplomatic and bloodthirsty, Alexander inspired such loyalty in his men. They followed him anywhere, and if necessary, died in the process. Though Alexander the Great died before realizing his dream of uniting a new realm, his influence on Greek and Asian culture was so profound that it inspired a new historical epoch, the Hellenistic period, which that's a whole other subject in itself. Because that's a time period where a lot of Israelites, all right, namely of the Jews, Southern Kingdom, all right, they were being Hellenized, meaning they were being forced to keep Greek customs and language in the Greek fashion. So let's continue on to the next paragraph. It says Alexander III was born in Pella, Macedonia, which that land itself belonged to the Japhetic people. Uh, Matter of fact, no, let's go back. Let's go back. Macedonia. Where was it? Bear me 1 second. Macedonia. I want to look it up. Okay. It's not letting me look it up. There we go. Let's web search Macedonia. It says Macedonia, North Macedonia, a country in southeastern Europe. All right, known until 2019 as the Republic of Macedonia. All right, ancient kingdom. So when you go to Macedonia, and it says, let's go back to it. It says, South. Hold on, not that one. Slovakia. Where I was just at. There we go. It says southeastern Europe. Okay, so southeastern Europe, which is around that Eurasia or uh, East Europe and West Asia region. When you go to the map, which I pulled up a pretty good map, that will be right here. Okay. It'll be this area right here. So this is Japhetic land. All right. Macedonian or Macedonian. Matter of fact, let's go to the location. We're gonna get a geographical location. Okay. It's perfect right here. So Macedonia is right there, Europe. All right. And it don't say the country, which I want to see the country today. Let's see the images. I'm just doing this for edification purposes, to get a idea or a sense of where it was at. Because okay, here we go. So Republic of North Macedonia, it's right above Greece, west of Bulgaria, east of Albania, south of Kosovo, south of Serbia. So can I find Kinum? See, can I find Kinum? It doesn't say it on the map, but we know it was within Macedonia. All right, the land of Kinum. So let's move on from there. It says First Maccabees 1:1, and it happened after that Alexander the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes. Then he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So, Alexander, which they call Alexander the Great, we call him Alexander the Creep. He was the first to rule, but he was the Edomite, okay? And the Edomite and Edomite and Japhet is two different bloodlines, okay? The Edomites come through Shem as well. Remember, Isaac had two sons, all right, and they were fraternal, all right, not identical, but fraternal twins, all right, Jacob and Esau. And Esau is the father of the Edomites. So when you go to Genesis 36, it tells you that. It says Genesis 36 and 8, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites. So we know that Esau is the father of the Edomites, okay? And the Edomites come from the line of Shem because they go back to Isaac as well. Isaac's father was Abraham. We know that on back through that lineage comes from Shem. All right. So we know that, the Edomites, though they're the wicked, all right, pursuing the Malachi 1 and 4, they still come through the line of Shem. And what happened was they pushed the people of Japhet out of the land, because when you know the history of the people that belong to the land that the Edomites had conquered, then you would know that they're not the people. See, it says right here, this is ancientgreece.org. It says geography and the economy of Crete, which, hey, you go in the scriptures, it mentions Crete. Matter of fact, that's in the book of Acts, because they had Israelites that came out of Crete for the day of Pentecost. Let's hit that real quick. Acts chapter 2. I've started 7, and I'm going to jump down. It says, and this is the day of Pentecost, to put you in the mind of what was going on. You had Jews that had came back to Jerusalem, which they were commanded to, going back to when the laws, commandments, and statutes was given to the Israelites. Every male was to appear 3 times a year before the Lord in Jerusalem. And this was the day of Pentecost, right? It says, Acts 2 and 7, and they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? Meaning what? Are not they Israelites? Or at that time, you had mainly the southern kingdom there, all right? What sprinkles the remnants of the northern tribes, but mainly it was the southern tribes, which are Benjamin, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, okay, which was collectively known as the Jews. Verse 8, and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born. It says, verse 9, Parthians and Medes, see? Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers of Mesopotamia and in Judea, and it says in Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, in Egypt and in the parts of Libya, about Cyrene and the strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of the Most High. So you had Israelites that came out of these lands, okay? But they got there by way of slavery, okay? So we'll go back here. It says, geography and economy of Crete. The island of Crete is located in the center of the Eastern Mediterranean at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe. And remember, going back to Genesis 10, it said that Japhet going to do what? Let's go back to it. I believe it's verse 5. Genesis 10 and 5. It says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families and their nations. So the isles of the Gentiles, right? Japhet, lived on these islands in Mediterranean, North Mediterranean parts, okay? Going into, all the way up to Europe. Because across the waters you had the beginning of Europe. It says, the island of Crete is located in the center of Eastern Mediterranean at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe. It measures about 200 kilometers from east to west and between 12 to 58 kilometers from north to south. At its narrowest, at its narrowest and widest distances, making it one of the largest islands in the Mediterranean Sea. And excuse me, this island belonged to Japhet. And again, the Japhetic people were pushed out because when you go into the history, right, of these lands, right, you have let me get that real quick. It was in the same. You had the Minoans, okay. It says the temperate climate of Crete, with its short, mild winters and its dry, warm summers, along with the fertility of the Cretan plains, produces sufficient food supplies to support an affluent local population and for exports. The inhabitants of ancient Crete, whom we call Minoans, produced a decentralized culture based on the abundance of the lands, natural resources, and on intense commercial activity. So it mentions the Minoans. All right. Excuse me. Now you gotta go into the history of Minoans. All right, because ancient Greece or old Greece or original Greece, all right, was a land that was occupied by the Japhetic people. Now, when you go to the Minoans, which I got that pulled up, these are the Minoans right here. But the Minoan legacy, see, they were dark skinned people. All right, look at this. Those are the original people. And sometimes the women be painted white. I don't know why, but the original people, as you can see, were oh the ancient Minoans. All right. They thought, look, this right here says, are the ancient Minoans the Keptui blacks from Africa? So they were so dark that they had complexion and skin complexion, and that is like the so-called African people, showing that they were a dark people. But those dark people were pushed out. Okay. These were the people that inhabited Europe. That land was given to them for inheritance because going back to Deuteronomy 32, the Lord gave all the nations their land. Uh, Deuteronomy 32 and 8, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So the inheritance goes into the land. When you go look it up, that's talking about the land that the Lord gave every nation. The Lord created all the nations and gave them land. And the land that the Greeks, which were Edomites, that were when Edom came into power, the land or the mainland of their rulership were the lands that were given unto the Japhetic people. Okay, let's go to the inheritance. Uh, we'll go to the word inheritance. See, it says inheritance. It says possession, property. So we know what property is: inheritance, heritage, property, portion, share. Uh, says Strong's definitions in its usual sense: properly something inherited, occupancy, or concretely an heirloom, generally in the state. All right, so we know what the state is. That's why you have real estate. Real estate pertaining to what? Land. Usually a house or a home that's on what? Land. So even when you go to the other when you go to the other Bibles, it even breaks it down further. Um, let's see here. It's the NLT. Let's get Deuteronomy 32 because it actually say the lands on some of them. See, Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High assigned lands to the nations, when He divided up the human race, He established the boundaries of the peoples, according to the number in His heavenly court. See, so there you go. All right, so the Japhetic people, or the ancient Minoans. You also have the Minoans. Today they're known as Samoans. Okay, they're known as Samoans today. Excuse me. The Samoans today, the Samoans today are still a dark-skinned people. Here we go right here. Look at this. These are the ancient Minoans. They're still people of color, as you can see. See? These are Samoan people, which they're relatives to who? Hawaiians. All right. You got the Polynesians. All right. The Aborigines of Australia. See? These are the original Japhetic people. All right. And so these are the people that were pushed out of Europe as you know it today. So when you look up this history, Ron Dalton Jr., you'll find out that these are not Polynesians right here. But you will find out that when you say Ashkenazi, remember Ashkenazi or Ashkenaz in the scriptures came through the line of Japhet, but the Ashkenaz people were originally dark-skinned people. And what you had happen was the Japhetic people or the Ashkenaz people, um, again, they were pushed out because they go back to the land of Japhet. So the Japhetic people were pushed out, and who took on the names, all right, were the Edomites. Genesis 10:3, and the sons of Gomer. So the son of Gomer was who? Son of Japhet. So Japhet's lineage. See? Because your bloodline go by your father. Let's get that too while I'm in there. Numbers 1:18, it says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Pedigree means bloodline. Okay, that's how your bloodline is traced, by the house of your fathers. Okay, so let's go back to Genesis 10, verse 3. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Rephath, and Togomar. See? So Ashkenaz was one of the sons of Gomer. All right, Gomer is the son of Japhet. Excuse me. All right, the sons is how your bloodline will continue. See? So there's your answer, as far as where that name or term Ashkenazi come from. That comes from the line of, or one of the sons of Gomer, was Gomer is one of the sons of Japhet, right? So the son of Japhet was the original Ashkenaz or Ashkenazis. But again, today you have the Ashkenazi people. All right, bear me 1 second. Gosh. See, this These people look totally different. See, totally different people. Totally different people. All right, totally different people than who originally inhabited that land. See, it says Ashkenazi Jews are genetically European. See, but the original people that lived in Europe, or the original Europeans, were Japhet, or the Japhites. Okay, so that's how you look up history. When you go to the prophecy in Ezekiel the 38th chapter, you know, Ezekiel 38, and by the way, when you go into the history of the original Japhetic people and Israelites, how they got along, uh, there's your answer, because you know the Edomites and the Israelites don't get along. Excuse me. But the Israelites and the Japhites, all right, the people of Japhet got along. They were so-called cool with Jake. All right, when you know the history. Ezekiel 38:1. This is an example where it mentions again. All right, let me go to that. Pull that up. Matter of fact, hold on 1 second. Go back to the KJV. There we go. And keep Genesis 10 on deck. Here we go. Ezekiel 38:1. It says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Now, in those it mentions the names which goes back to Japhet. See, sons of Japhet, Gomer, Magog. See, who else it says? Meshech, right? You see Meshech, and who else it mentions? And to Tubal. So Tubal. There you go. Magog, Meshech, and Tubal are sons of Japhet. See? So you think that Ezekiel was talking about the actual Japhetic people? When you go into the prophecy of the Lord setting his face against Gog, the land of Magog? No, when you go to Google, you're gonna go to Google. Uh Biblical land of Gog. Here we go. Here you go, right here. Perfect. Perfect. All right, Lord willing, it's clearing up. It's clearing up. Let me see. Need a better map. Yeah. Uh-oh. It's not what I wanted. Biblical land of Gog Magog. I need one to show real good so you can see. Perfect. Perfect. So it said the land, right? The land. Let me read it again. Ezekiel 38 and 2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus said the Lord of power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, And I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even the great company of with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. All right. Gomar and all his bands, the house of Torgamar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So, if we know that the Japhetic people are not in the land, well, who is the people that the Lord is going to bring out with all their armies and horses and horsemen? Well, you look at the map. Where's Gog? It says Russia. See, where's Magog? All the European, excuse me, all these European countries. See, a lot of the countries that are part of the EU, and some of them, well, a lot of them part of NATO as well. All right, so that's who it's talking about. All right, when it speaks about what's that? Let me see. Bear with me 1 second, because it says the Lord will burn it with fire, and it mentions the 10 horns. Come, Revelation 17 and 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." Now, who is that talking about? That's going into the old 10 horns, going into Europe, the ancient those ancient smaller kingdoms. Okay, and today, look at all these countries that are within Europe, which a lot of them are on the side of so-called America today. Okay, you're gonna have them turn on so-called America. And they're gonna join up with who? Russia, because when it speaks about Gog and Magog, well, the prophecy of Ezekiel 38 chapter is speaking about Russia coming out with their military, all right, equipment to what? Come up and fight against the whore, the great whore, which is America. Okay, but I just use that example, as an example to show you that it's not talking about the actual Japhetic people. When you go to the blue letter to Ezekiel 38, it'll mention Japhet when you look it up. Right? Ezekiel 38 and 2, we're going to look up some names. Even though I showed you using the scriptures, but I'm just going to show you. It mentions Gog. Let's click on it. Let's read from the top. It says, in the Hebrew, Gawag. It says, outline of biblical usage. Gog Mountain is Reubenite had a son named Gog. The prophetic prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, and Magog, which they go back to Japhet. Let's go back to it. I want to get it. See. Because usually when you click on the name, it'll say Japhet. Okay, here we go. Excuse me. There we go. It says for the word Meshach or Mashak. It says it means drawing out son of Japhet, grandson of Noah, and progenitor of peoples of sorry, and progenitor of peoples to the north of Israel, which that's going up into Europe. Okay, when you look up, let me see, north of Israel. Let's go web search, and I'm just doing basically like a little mini history. Or it's just the countries. It's like, let me type in countries north of Israel. Well, let's see. Countries. Well, see Israel map. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's better. There we go. Salakia. Took me a little minute, but I got it. So, oh, what is this about? Okay, so right here, lands north of Israel. As you can see, you have the Mediterranean Sea. It won't let me expand for some reason. Let me see, can I get a better map? Okay, here we go. So as you can see, you have the Mediterranean Sea. You even see the island of Crete to my top left of the screen. And you have Cyprus out in the middle. It's an island as well. And then you have go up in Syria, Lebanon, Syria, and then it lands connected to Turkey, which is going into Japhetic land. All right, goes up in Europe. So there you go. This is how we know that it's not talking about the actual Japhetic people. We know it's talking about the Edomites, because the Edomites take the they take the land of people and claim it for themselves. All right, which they pretty much stealing people's or nations' inheritance, meaning their lands. They stealing the other nations' inheritance, which is the lands that the Lord gave them. So let's go from there to matter of fact, not remove. I didn't write this down. All right. Here we go. Deuteronomy 19:14. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahweh thy power giveth thee to possess it. So you're not supposed to remove someone's landmark. Hence, you have it where a lot of those lands are called by different names. As you can see, Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, Bulgaria, all these different names that were not the name originally that belongs to those lands. Okay, and that's Esau's doing. Okay, that's Esau's doing. It's not nobody else doing it but Esau. Okay, that land should be still named to this day as the lands, okay, which they originally were. All right, Gog, Tubal, Meshech, Magog, Gomer, Tarshish, Togarmah, all that, right? Those all should be the names that still apply to those lands. But because of Esau, all right, they're not. Okay, so this is why you got to know genealogy. Okay, and this is why you got to know and understand what the scriptures or who the scriptures is actually talking about. All right, and know how to track one's lineage according to the Bible, because again, the Japhetic people, all right, the Japhetic people, all right, are not in the land. Okay, the people that's in that land is Edomites. Okay, the people in that land, again, I'm gonna say it again, are Edomites. Okay, and the people that's supposed to be in that land, the actual Japhetic people, excuse me, I gave examples, right? Minoans, Polynesians, Hawaiians, Samoans, which Minoans and Samoans, same people. Aborigines of Australia, So that's who should be in the land. But like I said, when you don't know, all right, when you don't know because you ain't, doing your proper research or studying, or research. I'm sorry, research. Yeah, you're not gonna know because uh, you haven't done your due diligence, to search out things. 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto the Heavenly Father, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. See? So we have to, I myself have to study to know these things. I didn't just, first of all, I was taught, and then I learned to look up things on my own as well to verify what I've been taught is accurate. And we all have to do our research, man. All right, so this has been my video of, you know, uh, the Japhetic people, or the original Japhetic people, which I just came up with that name. So, Lord willing, this video has been edifying. Until next time, I want to say shalom to the sincere Akim and Akwaf. Shalom.